Tanjiro knew how to perform sun breathing from the beginning? Would the story be any different, and if so, how? And exactly how would he be able to learn it? In order to answer these questions, I researched for days and came up with 3 different ways the story would go. But first, we need to understand that in order for Tanjiro to really learn the secrets behind sun breathing, his father needs to be alive, because there's no other way he could learn about it. After we establish that, let's start with the first theory, which basically kills Tanjiro right off the bat. Let me elaborate. We all know that Muzan and Kokushibo were actively looking for sun-breathing users, and the reason behind Muzan's visit that day was that he knew that the Kamado family are practitioners of sun-breathing. But he chose not to kill them that day, but to try to use their connection to the sun in order to create a demon that can withstand it. Our first scenario starts the same as episode 1, but here, Tanjiro is not leaving to sell coal that day because they have enough money thanks to his father being around. Muzan comes to the Kamado's house all the same, but this time he faces Tanjiro's father, Tanjiro. The fight between them is amazing, and although Tanjiro is very skilled and can enter the transparent world, he can't really do anything to Muzan, especially because of the fact that he doesn't have an Ichirin sword. Tanjiro is trying to help as well, but it's pointless. Muzan killed both of them, then gets angry at the Kamados for standing up to him, so he abandoned his original plan and just finishes off everyone that night. The rest of the story is dark. Because there's no Tanjiro, the demons kill off all the demon slayers, and Muzan eventually gets one of his wishes to come true. No one is able to fight him anymore. But this is only one of the 3 ways the story could continue. Scenario number 2 is similar to scenario number 1, but with 2 major differences. 1, Tanjiro did go and sell the coal instead of staying in the house. And 2, Muzan killed everyone and turned Nezuko into a demon. In this scenario, Tanjiro arrives to his house seeing all the bloodshed Muzan left behind. Angry, sad, and confused, he sees his family's bodies lying around, and he carries Nezuko on his back to get help after he takes his father's earrings and wears them. But this time, Tanjiro is in much better shape. Because he knows sun breathing and can access the transparent world, he can run all day and never lose stamina. Eventually, he runs into Giyu, but this time he protected Nezuko and is able to give Giyu a decent fight with only his axe. Giyu is amazed by young Tanjiro's skill, and the fact that such a young boy can fight with a Hashira with only an axe. Eventually, Giyu is able to pin down Tanjiro and point his sword to his face, which at that point, Nezuko comes to the rescue and Giyu sees that the brother and sister are special. It's important to understand that although Tanjiro knows sun breathing, he doesn't know that it's a sword skill, and as far as he's concerned, it's called the Hinokami Kagura breathing technique. Giyu sends Tanjiro to Urokudaki to learn about how to slay demons, and upon his arrival, he easily beats the demon that wanted to kill him in front of Urokudaki's house. Urokudaki is in shock seeing that boy's technique, and after training him for a while, he sees that Tanjiro is not only familiar with breathing techniques, he's a master of it. The rest of the story is pretty much the same, but the only difference is that Tanjiro didn't learn water breathing. He just kept improving on his sun breathing techniques without knowing its original breathing style. Fast forward to the Mugen Train, Tanjiro is much stronger now. He won his fight with Ryu with ease, and it seems that he's playing on easy mode for a while. Enmu possesses some difficulty for him, but eventually, it's no use. Enmu is decapitated using Hinokami Kagura Ekira no Ten. Rengoku is amazed by Tanjiro's abilities, and together they fight Akaza, and Akaza injures Rengoku badly, something that makes Tanjiro very upset, and at that point, something amazing happens. Before Akaza is able to land a final blow on Rengoku, Tanjiro cuts off both of his arms and legs in a single blow, awakening his Demon Slayer mark and saving Rengoku in the process. Tanjiro is almost a match for Akaza, who unleashes his full power. Tanjiro gets a good punch to the body and breaks multiple ribs, but keeps going. Eventually the sun comes up and Akaza has to run. Both Tanjiro and Rengoku are heavily injured, but alive. With this sense of hope, all the Demon Slayers are pushed to achieve their best because of the inspiration called Tanjiro, especially Inosuke. The Entertainment District arc goes much smoother after that. Tanjiro is easily fighting off Daki and cuts off her head. And at that point, Gyotaro comes out and attacks Tanjiro, who escapes just in time before getting poisoned. With the combined efforts of Tanjiro, Nezuko, Tengen, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, Gyotaro and Daki are defeated without major injuries to anyone. The rest of the story is the same, but with the 9 Hashira still alive and kicking, the fights are much easier from here on out. Tanjiro defeats Hantengu together with Mitsuri, Genya, and Nezuko without suffering much injuries. Nezuko conquers the sun and the Hashira training begins. But with a small difference. Tanjiro is much calmer and knowledgeable about his abilities, and together he helps the other Hashira awaken their Demon Slayer marks. With all the 9 Hashira working together in the Infinity Castle arc, the series takes a much more positive turn and no one dies in the fight against Muzan. The final way the story could end is not what you think. In this scenario, Muzan is a bigger coward than usual, and Tanjiro refuses staying at Saburo's house for the night. Muzan finds out that there is a family that practice sun breathing and sends Kokushibo to kill them. Upon his arrival, he sees Tanjiro's father with his brother's earrings and gets filled with memories and emotions, and they start talking. Upon seeing Upper Moon 1 talking to his father, Fear starts filling Tanjiro's body, and he manages to hide close enough just to hear Upper Moon 1 and his father's conversation. Kokushibo explains everything to Tanjiro's father, the origin of sun breathing and his earrings. Hearing of this, Tanjiro doesn't really know what to do and stays hidden, and in a split second, a fight between Kokushibo and Tanjiro begins. Unfortunately for him, Tanjiro is not strong enough and doesn't have a Nichiren sword. Kokushibo continues to kill off Tanjiro's family in front of him, which angers him a lot, and as he's about to try and fight Kokushibo, we see Tanjiro's father looking at him with his last breath and signaling him not to move. Tanjiro stays hidden until the sun comes up and Kokushibo leaves. Tanjiro's father was able to stop the bleeding from his fight with Upper Moon 1 just enough to give him his earrings and tell him that he should investigate what Kokushibo told him. In this story, Nezuko didn't turn into a demon and Tanjiro is all alone. He eventually runs into Giyu and sees that he's no ordinary man, but a demon slayer. He runs up to him and tells him everything that happens. Hearing that Tanjiro's encountered an upper rank that can use breathing style, he rushes him towards the Ubuyashiki house, and the leader of the demon slayers summon the Hashira and let Tanjiro tell them everything. Kaguya tells Tanjiro that he's special and a chosen one to wield the breathing style that can end Muzan. Tanjiro, who already knows how to use breaths and enter the see-through world, trains with each Hashira separately in order to learn as fast as possible. Tanjiro becomes the Sun Hashira in a matter of a few months, but because of that, he, Zenitsu, and Inosuke never became friends. Rengoku goes with Inosuke and Zenitsu to the Mugen train and dies from his fight with Akaza. From there, Tanjiro keeps on training and growing, but without him in the picture, Uzui dies alongside Zenitsu and Inosuke in their fight against Daki and Gyotaro. With two Hashira down, the Demon Slayer Corps seems like they're losing a lot of power. In this scenario, Tanjiro did go to the Swordsmith Village in order to get a new sword, and is the one that breaks Yoriichi Type 0 and gets his sword. In the Swordsmith Village, Tanjiro and Mitsuri are able to defeat Hantengu because he got to awaken his mark and his bright red sword, which hindered Hantengu's regeneration, to the point he couldn't become Zohakuten because Tanjiro kept slicing him. Because Nezuko didn't become a demon, the Demon Slayers understood that this is the time to attack Muzan and surprise him. Tanjiro teaches them how to awaken their mark, and after a few months, they're able to find and surprise attack Muzan, which in return dragged them to the Infinity Castle. The only problem is that Tanjiro never met with Tamayo and they didn't weaken Muzan, so Muzan was in full power when he dragged them into the castle. Tanjiro fought Upper Moon 1 together with Muichiro and Genya, and was able to win because of his red sword and the ability to enter the transparent world. Sanemi and Gyomei fought Akaza and won without many injuries. Eventually, all the Upper Moons were defeated and the Demon Slayers faced Muzan. The only problem for them is that Muzan is not weakened from any drugs as in the original story, which costs everyone their lives except Tanjiro, who was able to hold Muzan until sunrise, but all was in vain, because Muzan was able to inject Tanjiro with all his blood and turn Tanjiro into a demon, and together with his sun-breathing technique, he became the true Demon King. And without any drugs and no Hashira left, Tanjiro went on a rampage, killing a lot of people. Now, from this scenario, there are two ways the story could go. One is Tanjiro inherited Muzan's will and slowly spread demons and controlled the entire world because no one could defy him. And two, eventually his good heart got the best of him. And eventually he met Tamayo and she explained that being an evil demon is not the only way to live. I'll let you decide which option would actually happen. Write down your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please check out our other video about the 55 secrets you didn't know about Demon Slayer. Until next time.